Have you ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers, no matter how hard you try to hold it together? Like you're swimming upstream, constantly exhausted, endlessly trying to control what cannot be controlled. In today's world, we are taught that control equals safety, that if we can manage every detail of our lives, we'll avoid pain, chaos, and failure. So we plan obsessively, worry about the future, and cling tightly to our expectations. But life doesn't play by our rules. Just when we think we've got everything under control, it changes. A sudden phone call, a broken plan, a moment of silence that shakes everything. From the Buddhist perspective, this need for control is rooted in attachment, our mental habit of clinging to specific outcomes and fixed identities. And when life unfolds differently than we imagined, we suffer, not because of what happened, but because of our refusal to let go. The Buddha taught that attachment is the root of suffering. The more we grasp, the more life resists. It's like trying to hold water in our hands. The tighter we squeeze, the more it slips away. True peace begins not when we control life, but when we learn to flow with it. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we stop forcing. It means we begin to trust the natural rhythm of things and make space for a deeper kind of strength, one that arises not from control, but from surrender. We often believe that letting go means giving up, but in truth, it is one of the most courageous acts we can take. Letting go doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means choosing to trust instead of control. It means understanding that life has its own current, and no amount of force can change its direction. When we stop resisting that current, we discover an unexpected peace, not because everything is perfect, but because we've stopped fighting what is. In Taoist wisdom, there is a concept called Wu Wei, effortless action. It speaks of moving in harmony with the natural flow rather than struggling against it. Buddhism echoes this truth through the practice of non-attachment and present moment awareness. When we let go of rigid expectations, we create space, not for chaos, but for clarity. We take action when it's needed, but we release the desperation for control. We stop demanding that life meet our conditions in order for us to feel at peace. Some of the things we try to control the most, relationships, success, even health, are often the very things that require our deepest patience and trust. Letting go allows these areas to breathe, to evolve naturally. And in that gentle surrender, we often find a wisdom greater than our plans, a soft strength that carries us, not with struggle, but with grace. There's a story of a man who fell into a rushing river during a storm. Instead of panicking or thrashing against the current, he let go. He surrendered. Rather than fighting the force of the water, he allowed it to carry him, conserving his energy, staying calm, and trusting the natural flow. In time, the river brought him safely to shore. When asked how he survived, he simply said, "I didn't resist the river. I became part of it." This story is more than just metaphor. It is a reflection of how life asks us to soften. Resistance may feel like strength, but true strength lies in flexibility. When we stop demanding that life obey our plans, we begin to witness something greater. The unfolding of life as it is, not on our timeline, not according to our rules, but in perfect rhythm with something deeper, something wiser. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the quiet courage to trust the river of life, even when we can't see what's ahead. It is the practice of turning toward the present moment with open hands and an open heart. And in that surrender, we don't lose control, we gain freedom. the freedom to breathe, to adapt, to grow. The freedom to experience life not as a problem to solve, but as a mystery to live. So how do we begin this practice of letting go? How do we learn to flow with life rather than resist it? The first step is mindfulness. Mindfulness invites us back to the only place where life truly happens, the present moment. It teaches us to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, and to notice the space between impulse and response. In that space, we find clarity. In that stillness, we find choice. When something doesn't go as planned, when a dream crumbles, a person leaves, or uncertainty rises, we tend to reach for control. But mindfulness shows us another way. Instead of grasping, we observe. Instead of resisting, we allow. We say to ourselves, can I accept this moment just as it is, without needing to fix or change it? This simple question breaks the cycle of suffering and opens a door to peace. And then comes acceptance, not passive resignation, but active presence. Acceptance means we stop arguing with reality. We meet each moment with honesty and tenderness, even when it hurts. The Buddha taught, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Suffering arises when we add resistance to pain, when we tell ourselves that this shouldn't be happening. But through acceptance, we soften. We find strength in surrender, and we discover that even in our most painful experiences, something sacred is still present. When we begin to accept life as it is, without clinging or resisting, a quiet power awakens within us. It's the power of freedom, not freedom from problems, but freedom from the grip they have on our minds. We start to see that we don't need to control every outcome to be at peace. We don't need every person to understand us, every situation to favor us, or every plan to succeed. Real peace isn't found in a perfect life. It's found in a perfectly balanced mind. From this space of inner freedom, we begin to live more intentionally. We no longer chase what doesn't serve our soul. We stop filling our days with noise, possessions, and endless doing, and instead return to the sacred simplicity of being. We cherish silence. We move slowly. We listen deeply to ourselves, to others, and to life's subtle guidance. We recognize that most of what we thought we needed was just distraction in disguise. As the Buddha said, let go of what has passed. Let go of what may come. Let go of what is happening now. Don't try to figure anything out. Don't try to make anything happen. Relax right now and rest. In this resting, in this release, we are reborn, not as someone else, but as our truest self, no longer weighed down by the false stories of fear and control. As we deepen into simplicity, something beautiful begins to happen. We return home, not to a physical place, but to our natural state of being, a state where peace is no longer a pursuit, but a presence, where happiness is not a future goal, but a quiet appreciation of now. The more we let go, the more we come alive. The less we carry, the more we feel light. And the less we chase, the more we notice that everything we need has been here all along. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that all suffering begins with attachment, not just to things, but to ideas, to identities, to outcomes. When we loosen the grip of I must have, I must become, or I must know, we start to dissolve the root causes of our inner turmoil. In this space, simplicity is not emptiness. It is spaciousness. It is the quiet room where joy can breathe, where clarity can arise, where love can grow without condition. So let your life become simple, not because you lack, but because you see. because you see what truly matters. A smile from a stranger, a single breath, a moment of stillness before the world wakes. These are not small things. These are the miracles hidden in plain sight, the treasures we overlook while chasing illusions. In simplicity, you are not less. You are whole, you are enough, and you are free. When you embrace simplicity, you step out of the storm and into the stillness. In a world addicted to more noise, more goals, more possessions, choosing less becomes a sacred act of rebellion. It's not weakness, it's power. Because it takes courage to slow down when everyone else is rushing. It takes strength to say no to what doesn't nourish your soul. And it takes wisdom to realize that happiness isn't found in what you add to your life, but in what you gently release. Look at the lives of those who walk the path of mindful simplicity, monks in the forest, wandering sages, or even everyday people who live with purpose and peace. What they all share is not poverty, but clarity, not lack, but freedom. They are rich in presence, rich in awareness, rich in love that is not bought, but given freely from the heart. This kind of life isn't about denying joy. It's about creating space for deeper joy to emerge. A joy that comes not from stimulation, but from stillness. Not from possessions, but from presence. And not from chasing meaning, but from being meaning. So ask yourself, gently and honestly, what can you let go of today? A worry, a resentment, a possession, a false goal. Even a small release creates space. And in that space, something profound begins to grow. Peace, clarity, and the return to your truest self. In the end, simplicity is not something you chase. It's something you remember. You were born with it. As a child, you didn't need much to smile. A flower was enough. A breeze, a story, a kind touch. That was joy. That was life in its purest form. But as we grow, we forget. We complicate. We gather noise and call it success. We build walls and call them safety. We fill every moment and lose the moment itself. But Buddhist wisdom gently reminds us, return. Return to the breath. Return to the moment. Return to the essence of being, where you are not defined by what you own or achieve, but by the depth of your awareness. In this space, silence is no longer empty, it is alive. It holds the voice of truth, the whispers of compassion, the clarity of insight. Simplicity doesn't mean you give up life. It means you come fully alive to it. Every step becomes sacred. Every glance becomes connection. Every moment becomes an invitation to wake up, to see, to feel, to be, not in 1,000 different directions, but right here, right now. And when you live this way, even the most ordinary things become extraordinary. A cup of tea, a quiet sunrise, a walk with no destination. These are no longer just things. They are gateways to presence, to peace, to the infinite within the simple. Simplicity is not the absence of things. It is the presence of what truly matters. In a world where we are constantly told to chase more, do more, and be more, simplicity is the quiet revolution of returning to your center. It is choosing depth over distraction, meaning over momentum. It is recognizing that your peace is not found in the future, but in the breath you're taking right now. The Buddha taught that freedom lies not in accumulation, but in liberation. Liberation from craving, liberation from clinging, liberation from the illusions that tell us we are incomplete unless we have more. But when we sit with ourselves in stillness, we see the truth. We already are whole. Nothing needs to be added, only layers removed. With each small act of letting go, a grudge, a fear, an unnecessary want, You begin to taste the freedom simplicity offers. You make room for joy to rise, for clarity to unfold. You no longer need the external world to validate your worth. You carry your temple within you, silent, spacious, sacred. So let simplicity be your teacher. Let it guide you home, not to a place, but to a state of being. A place where your soul breathes easier, where your mind is no longer at war with itself, where your heart, uncluttered by desire, can finally rest in peace. It will feel easy other days, nearly impossible. But each time we choose to release even just a little bit, we become lighter, more open, more in tune with the quiet wisdom of life itself. We begin to see that letting go isn't about loss, it's about trust. Trusting that life in all its unpredictability still knows the way. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by chaos, the next time something doesn't go your way, gently remind yourself you are not here to control the river. You are here to flow with it, to move with presence, with grace, and with the quiet confidence that life is unfolding as it must. If this message spoke to your heart, and you're walking your own path toward peace and inner strength, consider subscribing to this channel. Here we share wisdom that nourishes the spirit step by step, breath by breath. Until next time, may you walk gently and flow like water.